Look at the pitch. Why are you standing exactly where you are standing right now? Did your youth coach just lazily throw you on the right wing 5 years ago simply because you were slightly faster than the other players? Did you automatically put yourself up front as a striker just because you desperately want to score goals, get all the glory, and celebrate in front of your friends? You are probably playing completely out of position, and it is silently destroying your football career before it even truly begins. Stop guessing. Stop letting random, uneducated decisions dictate your future in this sport. If you are constantly struggling to make a heavy impact on the game, if you feel totally lost and isolated when the referee blows the whistle, it is not because you are a bad player. It is highly likely because you are wearing the absolute wrong tactical suit. Today, we are going completely deep into the exact, undeniable blueprint of how to permanently find your perfect position on the football pitch. Follow me very closely right now because we are going to brutally break down your physical engine, your technical toolkit, your psychological profile, and your spatial awareness, learning directly from the absolute greatest players in the history of the sport. We are completely skipping the standard, boring textbook advice and diving straight into the raw, absolute truth of tactical positioning that professional scouts use to evaluate talent. Let us start by intimately analyzing your physical engine. What kind of physical vehicle are you actually driving on the pitch? Are you a rapid, explosive sports car, a tireless, heavy-duty tractor, or an absolute unmovable tank? You must be completely, brutally honest with yourself right now. How do you physically react when there is a loose ball 50 yards away? Do you have the twitch muscle acceleration and terrifying top speed to get there first? Or do you have the long-lasting, deep-breathing stamina to relentlessly jog up and down the pitch for 90 straight minutes without your lungs burning? If you have explosive pace but you get heavily tired after 3 massive sprints, you absolutely cannot be a box-to-box midfielder. Think about a prime N'Golo Kante. Kante was a biological machine with 3 lungs. He thrived in the chaotic center of the park because his physical engine simply never ran out of fuel. If you try to play his role with a sports car engine, you will physically collapse by the 50th minute. If you are extremely fast over short and long distances, you naturally belong out on the wide wings, operating exactly like a young Gareth Bale, aggressively isolating tired defenders and punishing them with pure, raw speed. But what if you are incredibly slow? Does being slow mean your football career is totally over? Absolutely not. Look closely at Sergio Busquets. Busquets is arguably one of the slowest midfielders in modern football history, yet he completely, effortlessly dominated the midfield for Barcelona and Spain for over a decade. Why? Because he deeply understood that his brain had to act 10 times faster than his heavy legs. If you heavily lack pace but you possess a massive physical frame, incredible aerial ability, and raw strength, you should absolutely not be wasting your time trying to play as a false 9 or a tricky winger. You need to be aggressively anchoring the defense like Virgil van Dijk or holding up the physical play like Didier Drogba. Ask yourself right now, what is your ultimate physical superpower? Once you finally stop lying to yourself about your physical limitations, you instantly and permanently eliminate half of the wrong positions on the pitch. Now, we must aggressively transition into your technical toolkit. What exactly happens in your brain when the football heavily touches your boots? Do you panic? Or do you feel a supreme sense of ice-cold calm? Think deeply about your passing range. Can you effortlessly ping a 40-yard diagonal ball directly onto your winger's chest on the run? Or do you violently struggle to complete a simple 5-yard ground pass under heavy pressure? If your passing range is absolutely elite, if you see geometric angles that literally nobody else on the pitch sees, you belong in the central midfield pivot. You are a natural conductor. You need to intimately study the legendary Andrea Pirlo or Xavi Hernandez. They absolutely did not rely on physical speed. They relied on ultimate technical perfection and ball manipulation. But what if your passing is just average, yet you have a terrifying, aggressive first touch and you can effortlessly dribble past 3 desperate players inside a tight phone booth? If you possess that chaotic, ankle-breaking dribbling ability, why on earth are you playing as a defensive midfielder where one single dribbling mistake directly leads to a goal? You need to be pushed incredibly high up the pitch, operating safely in the tight half spaces exactly like Eden Hazard or Lionel Messi, where your risky dribbling actually hurts the opponent in the final third. Let us also talk about the dark arts of tackling. Do you actually enjoy the physical violence of a perfectly timed sliding tackle? Does it give you a massive, addictive adrenaline rush to completely steal the ball from an arrogant striker? If you possess a high technical ability to forcefully win the ball cleanly without constantly giving away cheap fouls, you are a natural-born defender. Think about the iconic Paolo Maldini. Maldini famously said that if he had to make a desperate tackle, he had already made a positional mistake, but his technical positioning was so flawless that almost nobody could pass him. You need to brutally evaluate your absolute best technical skill. Are you a clinical finisher? A creative playmaker? A ruthless destroyer? You must mathematically match your best technical trait to the exact zone on the pitch where that specific trait is rewarded the most. However, your physical traits and your technical skills are absolutely, entirely useless if you do not have the correct psychological profile for your position. Yes, your mindset dictates your position just as heavily as your feet do. Let me ask you a very deep, uncomfortable question. How do you handle intense, suffocating pressure? When your team is desperately losing by 1 goal in the 89th minute and you receive the ball inside your own crowded penalty box, what does your brain do? Do you feel sheer, paralyzing terror? Or do you feel absolute ice running through your veins? If you are a naturally anxious, quiet player who deeply hates taking risks and fears making mistakes, you absolutely cannot play as a central playmaker. You will constantly give the ball away purely because of fear. You might be much better suited as a traditional fullback, where the entire game is visually in front of you, the sideline permanently acts as your extra defender, and your primary job is to aggressively defend your zone and play simple, effective passes down the line. But what if you possess an arrogant, unshakable level of self-belief? What if you genuinely believe you are the absolute best player on the pitch every single time you step onto the wet grass? That specific type of borderline arrogant psychology is exactly what is required to be an elite goalscorer. Look incredibly closely at Cristiano Ronaldo or Zlatan Ibrahimovic. They constantly demand the ball because their psychology is entirely built on an obsessive, sickening hunger to score goals. A center back needs the heavy psychology of a ruthless military general. You have to be loud, commanding, and totally comfortable screaming at your own teammates to keep the defensive line perfectly straight. Sergio Ramos did not just defend with his feet. He defended with an intimidating, terrifying psychological aura. Are you a quiet, shy, introverted player? Then you absolutely cannot be a center back, and you certainly cannot be a goalkeeper. The goalkeeper is the most psychologically demanding and lonely position on the entire field. You can stand there doing absolutely nothing in the freezing rain for 89 minutes, and then you have to make a world-class, diving save in the 90th minute to win the cup. If you make one tiny mistake, the whole world instantly blames you. Do you have the mental fortitude to handle that crushing burden? You must stop forcing yourself to play positions that constantly clash with your natural human personality. Align your mind with your tactical role. Now, let us transition into the invisible, highly intellectual aspect of football that truly separates the Sunday League amateurs from the absolute football legends. We are deeply talking about spatial awareness and field vision. How do you actually see the green grass in front of you? When you look up from the ball, do you just see 22 players running around chaotically? Or do you clearly see complex geometric triangles and passing lanes aggressively opening and closing like a mathematical equation? Ask yourself right now, do you strongly prefer the game to be entirely in front of your face? Or are you highly comfortable playing with your back completely turned to the opponent's goal? This is a massive, career-defining question that most players never even think to ask themselves. If you are absolutely terrified of receiving a hard pass with a massive, breathing defender aggressively pressing into your back, you absolutely cannot play as a target man striker or a central attacking midfielder. Players like Dennis Bergkamp and Zinedine Zidane were absolute grandmasters of spatial awareness. They intimately knew exactly where the defenders were without even looking, using pure peripheral vision and heavy, constant scanning over their shoulders. If you deeply hate playing with your back to goal, you intensely need to play in positions where everything is safely laid out in front of you. Center backs, defensive midfielders, and wingers typically have the massive luxury of facing the play. Think about the modern inverted fullback role, perfected by players like Trent Alexander-Arnold or João Cancelo. They start extremely wide, where they have vast amounts of space, and dynamically drift inside to heavily dictate the game because their elite spatial vision allows them to see the entire width of the pitch perfectly. If you are the rare type of player who always mathematically knows exactly where your teammates are before the ball even reaches you, you are a natural central player. The center of the pitch is a highly congested, claustrophobic war zone. If your scanning is poor, you will get violently destroyed in the midfield. If you need time and space to comfortably operate, you must push yourself out to the wide areas where the white touchline gives you a permanent safety net. Finally, you must deeply, profoundly understand that your perfect position is absolutely not a permanent prison sentence. The greatest players in football history constantly evolved, adapted, and aggressively changed their positions as their bodies aged and the tactical demands of the game heavily shifted. Look incredibly closely at Lionel Messi. Where did he actually start his career? He started as an explosive, rapid right winger, staying incredibly wide and cutting inside to completely destroy fullbacks with pure pace and unpredictable dribbling. But as he matured tactically, Pep Guardiola aggressively moved him into the dead center as a false nine, brilliantly exploiting his unbelievable playmaking vision and totally confusing opposing center-backs. And as he got much older and inevitably lost a fraction of his terrifying top speed, he dropped even deeper into a pure number 10 playmaking role, totally dictating the entire tempo of the game without having to sprint constantly. Look at Bastian Schweinsteiger, who started his career as a wide, crossing midfielder and brilliantly transformed into a World Cup-winning central defensive midfielder. Look at the legendary Thierry Henry, who heavily struggled as a left winger at Juventus before Arsene Wenger totally transformed him into the most lethal, terrifying striker in Premier League history at Arsenal. What does this critically mean for you and your journey? It means you have to completely stop being stubborn right now. If your coach actively asks you to play right back even though you firmly think you are a winger, do not sulk. Do not cross your arms and complain like a child. Embrace the heavy experiment. You might shockingly discover that attacking from deep as a fullback gives you way more space to freely use your crossing ability than you ever had as a tightly marked, isolated winger. You must aggressively test yourself in completely different zones. Play a few games at center back just to intimately learn exactly what defenders hate playing against. Play in the exhausting midfield just to deeply understand how tiring it is to constantly pivot and track back. You will never actually find your perfect, ultimate position by just guessing, assuming, or dreaming. You find it through heavy trial and error, brutal self-awareness, and by intensely answering the deep, tactical questions we just meticulously laid out for you. Listen to me very carefully. You now possess the absolute, undeniable blueprint to finally figure out exactly where you belong on the football pitch. You deeply understand how to critically analyze your physical engine. You know exactly how to honestly evaluate your technical toolkit. You realize the massive, unseen importance of your psychological profile, and you know exactly how your spatial awareness dictates your best zones. But simply knowing this heavy information is absolutely, entirely useless if you do not take aggressive action immediately. What are you going to do at your very next training session? Are you going to lazily drift back to the comfortable position where you have been hiding for years? Or are you going to step up, speak to your coach, and finally play the position you were biologically and technically built for? It is time to stop guessing and start dominating. If this masterclass completely changed the way you view your own football career, do me a massive favor right now. You absolutely must subscribe to this channel instantly. Do not wait for tomorrow. Hit that subscribe button right now and check out our other incredibly detailed videos on the screen on how you can dramatically get better in football by relentlessly learning from the top footballers in the history of football. Keep grinding, find your true position, own the pitch, and I will see you in the absolute next video.